Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Today, we're here to talk about how to submit a successful abstract for the USCHA conference. And we're going to give you some great tips and some great advice and some great deadlines so that you can all do your very best abstract submission. So please, take notes, but a lot of this will be online afterwards. So we just hope that you get some great information today. I'm Allison McKeithen, the conferences manager at NMAC. I am the lead person on this abstracts process, and I help lead the review process. So I'm kind of your go-to person if you have questions about anything from the tracks to the submission system. I'm your girl. Okay, so I just wanted to get on camera, say hi to everybody, wake up. We're gonna get some stuff. Inhale, exhale. Let's get ready. All right, I'm gonna go off camera, but I'm still here. Please, if you have any questions, we have the chat function in your box. You want to enter questions there. We'll have an opportunity to answer those towards the end. But as we go along, please make sure that you go ahead and put those questions in there and we will get to them. All right, so let's start. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover is the system. I'll show you where to get it, how to get in it. Then we'll go over the track descriptions, the type of abstract submissions. We'll give you some tips. We'll go over the review process, and then we'll get into those questions I told you about. Again, enter them into the chat box to the right of your screen, and we'll come back to those and ask those towards the end. So yes, please put your questions in there. And this is being recorded, so we will post this on our website later so that you can go back and pick up anything that you may have missed this time go around. But as always, we are here to answer your questions afterwards as well. Okay, so first up, a poll. I want to see where everyone is on this, okay? So the question is, have you ever submitted an abstract to USCHA? You can answer yes, it was accepted. You can say yes, but it was not accepted, or you can select no. So you're going to see that poll pop up. We'll give you all a quick second to respond. Everyone, please take this moment to respond. This will just help me along the way so I know how to speak to everybody and make sure you get these finer points, okay? All righty, we'll close it in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's wrap this up. Check. All right, let's see. A great number of you have not submitted an abstract before. Great. I think this is going to be great information for you to get this first abstract submitted and write it up well and hopefully have some really positive results. And for those people who have already submitted abstract before, that's fine too. Hopefully you'll get some more information, some new information, especially because every year we change up our tracks. So everybody's going to get a little bit of something today. First, I want to go over is how you submit an abstract. You can visit our website, uschA.life/abstracts. This holds all the information regarding how to submit an abstract, write an abstract, deadlines, all the good stuff that we're going to cover today. But most importantly, it has the link to the abstract submission system. You'll see in that gray box there's a button that says Submit Now. That will take you into the abstract submission system, and you'll begin by creating a profile. And I have up here that the deadline is June 25th. So you have a few days, a couple of weeks to get this together. You have more than enough time to really get a great abstract written, but just keep in mind that deadline. You don't want to miss it because once the system is closed, we're not accepting abstracts after that date. Okay, great. So now that you're on the website, you'll see that there are a couple of other items listed here as well. So you'll see that we have track descriptions. This has the full description of each track. There are abstract formats that we're going to also cover on this webinar today, just to give you more information about what the different formats require. what type of information we look for in each format. So you want to pay special attention to that. And then we also give you a sample abstract. It's a simple write-up of an abstract that was successful at a previous conference to get a better understanding of the kind of language we're looking for, how to best write out information so that it's very clear, and that the reviewers get the best understanding of what you want to present so that your abstract is scored well and accepted for presentation. So we're going to go just briefly look through the website if you haven't been. As you scroll down, you'll see that we have some important deadlines listed. Again, how to submit an abstract that we're going over today, some basic guidelines. We also give you the scoring rubric, the questions that are responded to, some tips, what's next, and presentation types. So now we click and go into the system where you create your profile. You'll see some more information about abstracts. And then what you want to do is enter an email address that you use regularly and check regularly so that this abstract and this email will get all the information pertaining to your abstract submission. So as far as, if it's accepted, you'll get that information there. So you want to make sure that it has this is an updated and best email address possible. After you create this profile, you will get an email that says that your abstract profile was created. This does not mean you've submitted an abstract. It simply means that you have created a profile. So let's go into the abstract submission process. We have 4 steps involved in the process. However, 2 of them are optional, but a lot of times people use all 4 steps. Let's go through them very quickly, and then we'll go into more detail. Step 1 requires primary presenter information, and this could be you. If you're the main person who's writing this abstract, we want all of your information, name, first name, last name, your organization, city, state, email address, a phone number so that we can reach out to you if something's going on, if we get a bounce back from your email. You're the person who's going to be the main contact for everything regarding this abstract, so you want to make sure that you are going to be vigilant in your email and very responsive. For step 2 and 3, looks for the same information, but they carry 2 different roles. Step 2 looks for co-presenter information. So these are the people who will actually present with you if your abstract is accepted. On this step, we require that we get your co-presenters' first name, last name, organization, city, state, and email. We need an email in the event that we're not able to reach you. We will also try to reach out to your co-presenter. Step 3 is looking for your authors, any co-author information. So anyone who assisted you in writing this information, but they might not be presenting, you'll want to put them under the author information. There we'll ask you for their name, first name, last name, organization, city, and state. And step 4 is the real meaty part of the abstract, is all the information that you have about your title. You'll be able to select your track. You'll be able to say what type of abstract you're submitting, and then we'll give all the descriptive information that's going to be evaluated. So step 4 is very important. So from the online system, when you first log in, again, you'll put in that email address, that reliable email address. You'll select that reCAPTCHA box that says I'm not a robot and submit. And you'll get your profile set up. In the upper left corner, you'll notice a registrant ID. That is you, and it relates to your abstract profile. You'll see here, our abstract is being submitted by the lovely Stacey Abrams. Everything on this page that is required is marked by a red asterisk. You see here, first name, last name, company, title, city, state, telephone, email, and we also require that you upload a resume, bio, or CV. So please make sure you complete at the minimum the items with the red asterisks so that you can save this information and move on to the next step. As you scroll down under primary presenter information, We do have a number of demographic questions that are optional. You're not required to respond to them. However, it does help make sure that we have a diverse presenters. So we want to know, everything about you possible, just to make sure that we know that our presenters are diverse. They represent all the communities and are as diverse as possible. We like to have diversity and representation. Once you get through the demographic information, should you choose, there's some consent buttons below, whether or not you want us to be able to share your information and your data. As we do send out our newsletters, this is giving us permission to use that information to do so. You can click, they auto-populate clicked. If you want to unselect, you can do that as well. And at the end, if all of your red asterisk items are completed, you'll have the option to click save. If not, you'll need to go back up, make sure that you complete everything with a red asterisk, and then come back down and click save. Once you click save, you'll come into your abstract submission dashboard, which shows all of the steps required to do your abstract submission. So once you get into step 2, you'll see the co-presenter information here. For our example here, we have our beautiful Amanda Gorman. So Amanda entered in her name, her last name, city, state, and email address. That's all that we require for co-presenters and for co-authors. So once that information is completed, you'll click save, and it'll take you back to your dashboard. You'll notice that step 2 and step 3 are not required. There's no red asterisks. You're not required to do these. This is up to you. If you want to submit this information, you can do so, but it is not required. So there's no red asterisks, and it won't prevent you from submitting. But what you will notice on the screen, step 4, where the arrow is pointing, the session information, there's still a red asterisk there, which means there's information to complete, and the submit button is not darkened, so you can't submit yet. So let's keep moving forward into our session information. Before we go any further, just a few guidelines that we want to clarify. First, we want to make sure that you enter yourself as the lead presenter, the primary contact person. You are going to receive all the communications about this abstract, and you will also be responsible for disseminating this information to any other co-presenters or co-authors. We do not send out information to everyone who is given an email address, only to the primary presenter, okay? So please make sure that email address is current and regularly checked. Secondly, we do not accept abstracts from the pharmaceutical industry. Number 3, as far as your presentation tracks, we offer a variety of topics. A lot of those topics might intersect. We ask that you select the best track to submit under. Only select one and only submit your abstract once. We do not need duplicate submissions of your abstract, regardless if it falls under different track topics. Select the one it best fits under for review purposes. So here's some tips for success before we begin our abstract writing session information. First, make sure you select a clear topic or focus. Make sure that the topic aligns with the track goals and objectives. Write your abstract before you put it in the abstract system. Recommend just writing it out in Word. Be sure to spell check and proofread. Fully write out your acronyms before you use them. We have a lot of acronyms in our industry. We want to make sure that the one that you use has the same understanding that the reviewer has. If it's a new one, it's really important. Excuse me. Okay. Also, we recommend that you ask a colleague to read your abstract. It's great to have a second or third pair of eyes. And when writing out your objectives, keep them to what you want the attendee to learn. Now that we've gone through those tips, let's start. So now that you're in your session information, first thing that comes up is the tracks, and you have to select the one track that your abstract best fits within. Our tracks this year are as follows. They are also listed on the website with the full description. So I recommend that you take the time to go back to the website, review the tracks, read the descriptions, then compare it to what you're going to write about, what your topic is, what you're thinking of proposing, and see how well your topic and what you want to present aligns with the various track descriptions, and select the one track you think it best fits within. For those who are interested in submitting under the track in Espanol, if you're interested in presenting in Spanish, you don't need to submit your abstract twice. You can submit it the one time under track in Espanol if you want to present in Spanish. You don't need to select an additional track to also submit it with under. Just submit it under Spanish if you want to do a Spanish-speaking, Spanish language only presentation at the conference. The track reviewers will be able to review your abstract in Spanish and will be able to evaluate you appropriately. So feel free to write your abstract for that track in Spanish. So while these track topics cover a lot of different topics, what's not here are the very individual races that we might normally have listed under track topics. But that's because we want all of the ethnicities and races to be covered throughout all of the tracks. We want to make sure that you pay special attention and include race throughout the workshops and presentations that you're recommending. So while those tracks are the main topics, we want you to address populations underneath those topics. We want to include, but you're not limited to, any of the populations listed here, such as Alaska Natives, American Indians, Asians, Black and African Americans, the Latinx community, Native Hawaiians, and or Pacific Islanders. So please make sure that you address race. Is very important to our conference. As you know, MMEC leads with race, and we want to make sure that our workshops are addressing race as well. So once you select your track, you scroll down and you have the option to select a presentation type. We offer two. You can present a workshop or a poster. You can select your abstract to be both. However, if selected for presentation, you will only be able to present one. Our workshops are 2-hour didactic presentations in a class format. So you'll have yourself at the front of the room, there'll be an audience facing you, listening to you give your beautiful information. Poster presentations are placards. They're 4 feet by 8 foot placards presented in a specific space where you'll have 2 presentation times to speak with our attendees about the topic at hand, and you'll have the opportunity to give them that information and answer questions as they come up. So it's a little more intimate, but it's a really great opportunity to give a lot of great research data. So you have the option of selecting both, but once we get to USCHA, you'll only have the opportunity to present one. If it lends better towards one versus the other, please select the one that would be the best presentation format. Not everything presents well in the poster format, so please make sure you make those decisions. Next, we have our presentation title. Presentation titles are limited to 10 words. We want it to be accurate, we want it to be clear, we want it to grab attention. So make sure that when you write this title, that it is something that's going to grab people's focus, that'll pull them into your workshop, but that'll also be very accurate about what you're presenting. If you're going to be talking about aerospace things, make sure that you mention that in the topic and don't say, you know, flowers and butterflies. Just as an example, very, very flippant example, but I just want to be very clear. Make sure that your topic, your title sticks to the topic at hand and it's just very straightforward. It helps our attendees get a better idea of what they can expect when they attend your workshop. The next thing is to select your presentation level. This is based on the attendees or the audience's education level that is needed in order to understand the topic that you're discussing. Not the level that you feel like your information is on, but what does the person who's attending your talks education need to be on? An abstract format. We offer two various formats. One is concerning a specific program, project, or study. Format 2 is addressing a broader issue, area, a problem, or community need. This information is on our website, but these two formats work in very different ways. Format 1 is usually very scientific. You see most of our poster presentations are submitted under Format 1 because it gives a lot of straightforward data. Our Format 2 is usually more community-based issues and a little more, I would say less research focused, but more community talk focused and program driven. So you want to make sure that you understand the two differences and select the format that best meets your program's needs. And in addition, we ask for two separate sets of information depending on the format that you select. For Format 1, we still ask for a description. However, step 2, we look for the methods and the strategies that are used during your program. We'll ask for the results, any outcomes from the program, project, or study. And this we would ask you to include any kind of quantifiable data. And in the fourth step, we would ask you to state any conclusions reached as a result of this program or this study. Under Format 2, when you're addressing a broader area issue or a community need, you still want to have a great description, but we'll ask you to give a specific issue, problem, or the need around it. Give us what the issue is. Next, we'll ask you to give the learning objectives for the audience based on the issue, what they should know and learn. And then under step 4, we ask you for the strategies, methods, models, and examples. So information about how you're going to teach it, how you're going to have them discuss this topic, and really make sure that they get the objectives that you're giving out. Anything around models and examples, if you have those available to provide, we would want you to list them in that space. So two very different formats. So make sure that you understand those formats and what your program is and submit based on the format that it best meets its need. Sorry, fumbled there a little bit. So as you scroll down, you'll see there are paragraph boxes that are waiting for you to fill in this information. We recommend that you pre-write in Word those more paragraph-based responses so that you can properly format them, so that you can make sure that they're spell checked, so that you can have someone else read them, and then copy and paste into those boxes when you're ready. So let's get into the workshop description. Workshop descriptions have a 150-word limit. Make sure you explain your topic clearly. Don't over-elaborate. Keep it interesting and relevant. Consider it an advertisement for your abstract. Because if selected, this is the description we're going to use in all of our collateral. We're going to put it in our program book. We're going to put it on our app. If there's a workshop listing, we're going to put it on the website. We're going to put it there. So anywhere your abstract is going to be mentioned, the description will be there, and this is what people will read. So make sure it's accurate and makes sense. The next one, your methods and issues. There's no word limit in the box. However, we do recommend that you try to keep it to under 500 words. Keep it relevant to your topic. Explain why this is a relevant topic for us to have at the conference. What makes it important? Also, what is the issue you are addressing? Very important questions that you should answer during this particular response. There's an example here. There's also another example on our website. So feel free to kind of read through these and make sure you really understand, you kind of see how the writer describes why it's important and why it's relevant and what issue they're describing. Next, the results and learning objectives. Again, no specific word limit. However, again, we recommend you keep it to 500 words or less. Here you want to give what skills would the attendees of your workshop have by the end. You want to keep this very clear and straight to the point. In the example, you'll see the writer wrote out, by the end of the session, participants will be able to, and gave 4 very clear things that as a result of attending that workshop, those attendees will have those skills. It's a very clear way to also have whoever's reviewing your abstract really kind of get to the point of what is important about your abstract, why this is relevant, and what's going to benefit the attendees. That's really important. And then the final part for conclusions and strategies. Word limit, we recommend no more than 500 words. And this is where you write out how you plan to educate the attendees. What strategy are you using? What is the plan for them to meet the objectives that you previously mentioned? In the example, you'll see the first sentence says, this hands-on session will invite participants to review and critique a wide range of actual grant narrative samples. That's what they're doing. That's how it's interactive. That's how those attendees are going to learn about grant writing. It gives them hands-on experience. This is the type of example you want to give in this portion of the abstract writing. So you want to make sure that it's very clear. So now the reviewers understand what type of activities are going to happen during your workshop, and they'll see that it's very interactive, which is also very important. We like to have very interactive workshops. So once you finish your 4th paragraph, you paste it in there and you scroll down, you'll see a question. Have you presented this topic at any other conference? Yes or no? Go ahead, select your answer. You'll want to verify that you've completed all the red asterisk marked areas in this portion. And if you have, the save button will be darkened so that you're able to click save and move on. So it's darkened here. So let's go ahead and click save. So then you're back at your abstract submission dashboard. You'll notice here, even though you've put in all the information, your submit button is still not darkened. There's a red asterisk besides primary presenter. This lets you know there's some step that you missed. This is how it looks. So if you get through all of your information and it says, I'm not able to submit anything, I don't understand, I've done everything. Apparently there's something that the system has recognized as incomplete. You'll see that red asterisk here in this example by step 1. That's where you'll want to go back, fix that, so that you are able to submit. Once you finish putting in your information that was missing, you'll see the red asterisk has gone away now. The submit button has darkened, and you're able to submit your abstract. Once you do so, you'll get a confirmation email saying you have submitted your abstract. So we've gone through everything. We've gone through everything on how to write your abstract. But there's one more very important thing that you have to do all of these things before. What is the abstract submission deadline? That's the poll. Were you paying attention? When does this all due? All right, everybody. So we're going to put the poll up in just a second. Is the abstract submission deadline June 15th? Is it June 23rd? Is it June 25th? Or is it July 2nd? All right. This is important. This is important. Okay. Put in your responses and we're going to close it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Let's see who's paying attention. You guys are great. All right. Majority got it. It's June 25th. Yes, that June 23rd response was a little difficult. I see some people selected June 23rd, very close, but if you do get it in by June 23rd, you're still good for that June 25th deadline. I'm glad nobody selected July 2nd. So you're all on point. Very good. You were listening. Congratulations. So that's half the battle. All right. So now let's move on. Let's talk about how your abstract is going to be reviewed. And I want you all to see this information so that you have an idea on how to make sure that your abstract is reviewed in the best possible light, right? You want to know what you're being scored on. All right, so let's get to it. So here's the review process. On June 25th, you'll submit your abstract, your submission deadline. Between June 26th and July 30th, the track committee will review your scores, will review your abstracts, they'll score it, we'll give some recommendations. The program committee will meet and will finalize those recommendations, and then it'll be finalized, and we'll send out those notification letters to you to let you know whether your abstract has been successfully moved on to be presented at the conference. So who serves on the review committee? We have a diverse group of people from our program partner organizations listed here. Our program partners support us by serving as track leads. They review the abstracts, and they also help make sure that our program remains a robust and diverse collection of workshops so that our attendees get the very best education possible. So we also want to say thank you for them for always being available to help in this process. So how are abstracts scored? We start off with a yes or no question. Then there are 5 scaled questions where you can get a score between 1 and 4. And the maximum score is a 20. So that's what we're all gaming for here. We want to get 20s on our abstracts. So the first question, the yes or no, is, does the abstract indicate the session is interactive? If you remember, I mentioned how the person is writing in the strategies that they're going to have their attendees reviewing various grants. That's an interactive element. You want to make sure that whatever you write, that you review and include how you're making your abstract, your workshop interactive. Make sure you write that inside your description and inside your strategies. Next, how closely does the abstract reflect the track's description and objectives? Again, this is important to selecting the correct track. Select the one track your abstract best and most aligns with. How relevant or appropriate is the abstract's topic? This is why we want to make sure it's cutting edge. This is all information that you're going to explain in your description, in your reasonings. You want to make sure you explain that. Why is it important? How cutting edge is the topic? How essential is the topic? You want to make sure you address these questions in the body of your abstract. And then underneath that, the last question is, how would you rate the overall clarity of this abstract? Again, it goes back to the tip of, make sure that you're very clear, make sure you're very succinct in how you describe the topic, make sure you're very clear about the objectives so that there's no mystery once they read it. They're very sure, the reviewers are very certain and very sure about what you have to offer and what your abstract intends to educate the attendees on. So again, those tips, make sure the topic is clear, make sure you align those track goals and objectives, make sure you write it out in Word, give it a go around a couple of times, have your colleague read and review your abstract, spell check it, proofread it, write out the acronyms. You don't want to get confused. There are a couple of different explanations for various acronyms. You want to make sure they know that you have the right meaning for it. Also, when you're writing those learning objectives, very important, keep them to what you want the attendee to learn. All abstract notifications will go out after August 1st. So once we finalize everything, August 1st, you should start seeing notifications come about your submission. Again, abstract deadline is June 25th. Decisions will be sent out after August 1st. All right, let's get to some questions. So if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat box right now. My colleague Chip is going to go through the chat and ask those questions. I will answer them. Don't be afraid. If I can't answer them, I will arrange another time to go over that question, and hopefully I can get you some answers later. Chip, are there any questions?
There are, Allison. I just want to point out that Tara Barnes-Darby, our Director of Conferences, has also joined us, so she's here to answer questions as well. So let's start in. Can you submit an abstract for both a panel discussion and poster presentation?
You can. However, those formats are very different. So how you describe your abstract is going to be very important. If your abstract is mostly poster, poster quality information, if it's very data driven, you might just want to submit it under a poster. However, if it's interactive and this panel is going to be given a lot of great information, you want to make sure that you explain why this panel is great, how it's going to be interactive for the people who are attending. So those two don't match up too well as far as, submitting them as the same under the one submission. So I would definitely make sure you select which format is the best format for that information that you have.
Okay, next question. Are you able to submit two totally separate abstracts for separate tracks under the same profile?
Yes, you are. The system allows you to submit multiple abstracts. I believe you have up to 4 that you can submit. My apologies, that is my puppy. He is in a little bit of a distress. You can submit up to 4, and you can select different tracks for each abstract.
Okay. The next question we have is about, will these slides be shared with participants? And I can tell you that this session is being recorded, and it will be available tomorrow on the abstracts page of the USCHA website. That's uscha.life. So if you go to the abstracts tab on that page, you'll be able to find the recording of this session. Let's see, next question. Will refusal notifications be sent out as well?
Yes, anyone who actually fully submits an abstract will receive a notification. So make sure that you actually get it submitted. There are a lot of times people who think they've submitted and their abstract has actually been incomplete and they will not receive notifications. So make sure that you hit submit and that you get a confirmation email for your abstract, and you will get a notification.
Okay, next question. Does the abstract committee accept abstracts but with the condition to change format?
At times, we will recommend a different format based on what the committee recommends. If the abstract seems to be better as a poster or maybe better as a panel, those recommendations will be given to the author of the abstract. We try not to do that though. Next question.
Okay. If you have a presentation that you will present at another conference in the future, but if you have not yet presented it elsewhere, how should you mark the yes/no question about previous presentations of this topic?
If you have not previously presented it, then that would be no, I have not previously presented it.
Okay. We are submitting an abstract that could fall into different categories. Might the review panel decide to put an abstract in a different topic track?
It's possible that it could be moved to a different track, but we really rely on you to submit which track it best fits under. So please try to make the best decision you can. Select, just be very careful about submitting it under a track that doesn't match your topic.
Is the word count 500 for strategies, or is there no word limit?
We recommend 500 per response, per box, per paragraph response, but there is no word limit. The reason why we give the recommendation is because we get a lot of abstracts, and if you're writing a lot of information, a lot of times it gets glossed over. And I just want to make sure that we recommend 500 because that's a reasonable amount of information to read. Next question.
If I'm writing about a community event, would it be best to submit a poster application?
That's up to you, depending on how you describe it or what kind of information you're trying to get. If it's not going to be interactive and you're just simply explaining what happened at that event and giving some stats on it, then a poster might be best. But you really have to make that determination for yourself.
Is there a maximum number of abstracts that will be approved per track?
There will be, yes.
Is there an opportunity to adjust the room setup for interactive activities?
There might be. I think that we can address that as we get closer to the conference if your abstract is accepted. We try not to move the rooms around too much because it's a lot of work to get the rooms reset. You know, our workshops happen pretty quickly, right, one behind the other. So I recommend that you not try to do too much changing around, but if you do, you know, just try to help get it back. But we can definitely talk about interactivity and what's needed to assist with that if your abstract's accepted. But please describe whatever you want to do within your abstract description so that we understand, you know, within your strategy, so we understand what you're trying to accomplish.
How long will a presenter have to present a poster?
Each poster presentation session is 15 minutes long, and we have 2 poster presentation sessions.
If we are selected for a workshop, do we also need to register for the conference?
We offer 1 complimentary registration per workshop. So if you're accepted, if it's just you presenting, you can use that complimentary registration to attend the conference. So you would not need to pay. However, if you have co-presenters who are coming with you, those co-presenters would need to pay if you decide to use the comp registration for yourself.
Is there an issue if the abstract is previously presented, even if it's modified and tailored for this audience?
No, we just wanted to know. It's simply information questions. It does not, it's not held against you.
If I submitted an abstract to the Biomedical Summit, can I resubmit the same abstract with changes?
Yes, you can.
How long are classroom presentations?
2-hour time slots.
Okay. That was the last question we have at the moment.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Well,
if you have any more, now's the time.
Yeah. Please feel free to, you know, ask your questions. Like I said, I am always available to respond afterwards. If you want to email me, amckeithan@mmac.org or conferences@mmac.org. There's a page I'll show after this that has that information. But yeah, we're just really excited about this year. You know, we're coming back to this out of the virtual world. We're going back in person. So we really want to, you know, make sure that you are all very comfortable with the new comfortable with coming back, and that you're all really good with understanding what we're looking for. So please feel free to ask those questions that you have regarding the abstract submission process.
Oh, Allison, we've had one more question. Will there still be social distancing and seating?
So we're going to work out those issues as we get closer to the conference, but we're looking at having 100% capacity and being fully just like normal. We're not looking at having social distancing based on the District of Columbia's recommendations. However, we know that these things are changing regularly. So really based on what the municipality decides we can do is what are the guidelines that we'll follow, and any CDC guidelines as well. So it really depends on what those agencies decide. So if by October we still have to do social distancing, we will absolutely do that. But DC has been reporting going back to 100% capacity. All right, Chip.
Yep, no more questions, looks like.
All right, well, again, thank you, everyone. We will be posting this this webinar on our abstracts page, so you can refer back to it. Please stay on and complete the evaluation. Let us know what you thought about the presentation. Any questions that were not asked or answered today, please email conferences@nmac.org. We'll be happy to respond back to those. And yeah, we look forward to seeing your abstracts and seeing you at USCHA. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great afternoon.